What's up everyone, June with the Sushi Man, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make my version of the extremely popular dragon roll. And I say my version because the dragon roll is one of those rolls that can be totally different depending on the restaurant you go to. It's often interchanged with the caterpillar roll, making it very confusing of what actually goes into each roll. But regardless, this is a roll that'll impress all your friends and family, and one that you're definitely going to want to learn how to make, especially if you're looking for a fully cooked sushi option. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. But first, I just want to give a quick thanks to you. Whether you're new or returning to my channel, thank you for being here. Now, I want to ask you for a simple favor. If you're enjoying my content and you're finding it helpful, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does make a difference and it allows me to continue making more creative and better content. So again, I really appreciate you all being here. Now back to our video. First and foremost, we have our sushi rice, which is the most important ingredient in any type of sushi. I'm going to be using about a half cup of this to make one roll. And make sure to watch my sushi rice video if you don't know how to make this. Next, we have 1/2 sheet of nori, which is dried seaweed. Now, besides those two, there's really no concrete rule on what exactly goes into the dragon roll. That's why it's so wishy-washy, especially when you compare it with the caterpillar roll. Basically, what it boils down to is that both rolls have some avocados layered on top to make them look like a caterpillar or the scales of a dragon. However, typically dragon rolls have shrimp tempura in them, while caterpillar rolls have unagi inside, and that's how I differentiate the two. Now that said, I like to include both shrimp tempura and unagi in mine, because I mean, why not, right? So back to our ingredients. We have 1/4 of an avocado, a little bit of English cucumber, and then about 3 to 4 ounces of unagi, which is freshwater eel. And you should be able to find this at most Asian markets in the frozen seafood section. Then next we have a couple pieces of shrimp that we'll be tempura frying. Now, if you want to keep this recipe as simple as possible, then I recommend getting pre-fried tempura shrimp. It comes frozen and they sell it at most regular grocery stores, or Costco usually carries them too. I'll be making my own, so for this we need some tempura ko, which is tempura flour. Now, I recommend using this, but don't worry if you can't find it. Later on in the video, I'll show you how to easily make your own batter with just regular flour, egg, and water. Okay, and then to top it all off, we're going to use some unagi sauce, spicy mayo, and toasted sesame seeds. And I have videos that teach you how to make both of these sauces, so check out the links in the description if you want to learn how. And then of course some wasabi, ginger, and soy sauce if you prefer. Alright, that's it for our ingredients. Now let's get prepping. The very first thing you want to do is make the sushi rice, since that takes the longest. Next, we're going to start heating up some oil for our tempura shrimp, and I just use a neutral oil like vegetable or canola. And while we wait for that, let's get everything else ready. Starting with the cucumber, which we're going to slice into thin strips. You can cut them into thicker sticks too if that's easier. I like to slice mine thin, which gives it a better texture in my opinion, but it's all personal preference. And I'm going to use a technique here called katsuramuki, which is a bit more advanced. If you want to learn how to do this, check out this video right over here. Alright, now we're going to slice 4 pieces of the unagi that are about 1.5 inches wide by 2 to 3 inches long, a little smaller than nigiri size. And we'll leave these to the side for now, but broil them right before we're ready to roll. Okay, now on to our shrimp tempura. First thing you want to do is peel and devein the shrimp, but make sure to leave the tail on. Mine's already been deveined, so I'm just going to peel these really quick. Now we're going to take out the dirt and moisture out of the tail. We do this by spreading the tail onto the cutting board like this, and then using the tip of our knife, just scrape outwards. You should see the ends of the tail become clear like this. Okay, now we flip the shrimp over and we're going to make some shallow cuts alongside the belly, all the way from head to tail. And then next we're going to flatten these guys so that they don't curl up when we fry them. So lay it on our board with the belly side down, and then apply some pressure from the top. Just like that, so it's nice and straight. Alright, now we just set this aside in some regular all-purpose flour, and we'll move on to our batter. So if you have tempura, just follow the instructions on there. Usually it's about a 1-to-1 ratio between the flour and water. If you don't, then follow this recipe right over here. So first we're going to sift the tempura flour into a bowl. And then I'm going to add the half a cup of water, and you want to use ice cold water if you can. Okay, now we just mix this with a pair of chopsticks, but try not to overmix it. We actually want to leave some of the small clumps in there, which gives it a lighter, airy texture. Alright, now let's go fry the shrimp. First, lightly coat the shrimp in flour and dust off the excess. Now double check the oil temp to see if it's between 340 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then grab the shrimp by its tail and dunk it into our batter. Lightly shake off the excess, and then drop it in the oil. Now, shrimp doesn't take too long to cook, about 2 to 2.5 minutes or so. And you want to flip these over about halfway through. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes, so these are ready to go. Alright, now we're going to broil our unagi. And that's it with the prep. Now we can get rolling. Alright, so first, just make sure you have everything in place. The sushi rice, bowl of cold water or tezu, nori, our filling ingredients, and our makisu, which we have wrapped in plastic for this roll. You can watch my original how to roll sushi video if you don't know how to do this. Okay, so first we lay the makisu down onto our board with the lines running horizontally. And if your makisu has a greenish side to it like mine, then leave that side on top. The green side is the flat side and it will help make the roll come out cleaner. Now lay a sheet of nori with the rough side facing up onto the makisu horizontally. Now wet both hands and grab a ball of sushi rice about the size of an apple. And then spread it out all the way across evenly on the nori. Now flip it over so that the seaweed side is on top. And a little tip here is you want to leave about an inch of space between the bottom of the makisu to the bottom of the seaweed, which makes it a little bit easier to roll. Okay, now let's add in our fillings. Cucumber, our shrimp tempura, and make sure you have the tails of the shrimp sticking outwards. Now we start rolling by bringing this bottom part of the nori to the top of the fillings, while using the makisu and holding the ingredients with our forefingers. Now at this point, you should still be able to see this top part of the nori sticking out. From here, I like to pull this top end of the makisu away from you, while the other hand holds the roll in place. This will help tighten the roll so that the fillings don't fall out. Now we continue rolling by taking this bottom end of the makisu and pulling it away from you. It should just naturally roll onto itself. Now apply some light and even pressure from all sides. And then take off the makisu and place the roll onto the board. Now we're going to align the edge of the makisu to the end of the roll, and then we're going to gently push in on the rice. This will make the end pieces look prettier. Now do it for both sides. Alright, now we're going to layer the toppings. So first, let's cut our avocado into really thin slices. And we're going to need about 6 to 9 of them. Now we're going to lay the unagi and avocado on top, alternating between them. Okay, now get a sheet of plastic wrap and lay it on top. When you do this though, try to have an extra few inches at the top here. This will help with the cutting part later. Now use the makisu and gently apply pressure to shape the unagi and avocado around the roll. Alright, now it's time to cut. I like to cut it with the plastic still on, which helps keeps the toppings in place, but you could cut it without it as well. If you are doing it this way though, then make sure to keep this top part intact, meaning don't cut through this section. You'll see why here in a sec. And we're going to cut this into 8 even pieces, which is the standard for uramaki rolls. And you probably see me do this countless of times, but the way I like to do this is to cut it straight down the middle in half first, and then take each half and cut it in half again, and then each quarter into halves again. This way tends to keep each piece evenly sized, but of course, cut it the way you feel most comfortable. So you see, as long as you have this upper part intact, you could just pull this right off as one connected piece. So you're not going in there trying to pick out small pieces of plastic. Alright, now all we have to do is plate this. And there you have it. Now you could get all super fancy with this if you'd like. Draw designs using the sauces or shape the wasabi into a dragon head, it's totally up to you. Regardless, it's a huge crowd pleaser that will for sure impress your fellow sushi lovers. Or even not so sushi lovers. There's no raw seafood in this, so it's a great beginner roll or one that you can make for that anti-sushi person in your family. Fair warning though, after this one, they might get hooked. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about making sushi, then be sure to check out my book. It's called How to Make Sushi at Home, a Fundamental Guide for Beginners and Beyond. It has this exact same recipe along with a ton of other types of sushi and not just rolls. I teach you how to cut sashimi, make nigiri sushi, temaki, gunkan, chirashi, temari, basically all the different types of sushi plus much more. So whether you're a sushi chef in training or want to explore the art of sushi making at home, this book will be your guide. Links are below for those that are interested. Alright, that's about it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, feel free to leave me any questions or comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. ありがとうございます。